Hey guys, it's Fishing the PNW here, and I wanted to talk to you about what I believe is a new type of craw presentation. I mean, there's all sorts of baits, like you got beaver baits, pocket craws, pit bosses, Yamamoto, twin-tail hula grubs, and then, so these are different types of craw style presentations, and then you even have the craw tubes, which is basically like a tube except it has these two craw-like arms on the end. So if there's craw presentations, craw tubes, then there's got to be another hybrid slash new style of craw presentation. So moving these aside, I wanted to show you something that I just kind of came up with when I was bored. Again, someone else probably might have tried this before, maybe they haven't, I don't know. But I call these things craw worms. So if you look at them, what I actually have rigged is these are both Strike King 3/8 ounce football heads. That's a green and that's a brown or a green pumpkin, I don't remember. But anyways, what I did was, so I took one of the Shaky heads, took a Zoom trick worm, and I took one of the small Yum F2 craw bugs. And essentially what I did was, you know, just beyond the tail so you have an opening, let me do it right here, so move these aside for now. So basically, if you count back from the back, there's 1, 2, I would cut off 2 of the ribs with a box cutter, and that leaves a small opening. But what you can do is, you'll probably need to wet it, but starting from the front, I might not be able to do it right here, maybe I can, I don't know. Actually, yeah, it's going in. So what I do is I shove that trick worm into the front of the craw, and then I'll shove it in until a little bit pokes out. And then I'll go ahead and cut that little bit that comes out. So now you have a craw with a worm coming out at the end of it. And the idea or the inspiration behind this was, I was thinking maybe if a bass sees a craw and it thinks that it's eating something, like a worm that it found, then maybe the craw will seem a little bit more defenseless or unaware of what's going on. So the bass might see it as an easier target. Plus it's just something he's not used to seeing. Most of the times it's either going to see a worm or a craw presentation. But so what I like to do is I like to actually line this up. So first, that kind of pulled back through. So make sure it's kind of, the worm's kind of flush with the end of the craw, and then you can start threading it through. So I'll go ahead and thread that through until it's flush. And the thing I like about the Strike King Shaky heads is if you cut it just right, or this size hook and cut it just right, basically once you thread it through the hook, you can bury the tip of it just in the nose of that craw. So let me go ahead and do that here. Let's see. You see? I don't know. Push it a little bit. And then I basically do it so that move these claws out of the way, so that the worm is pretty much coming out straight. And then I'll just bury the tip of that hook into the very nose of the craw. So the hook is just buried just under that nose. So again, so I mean you could experiment with different lengths, but this one right here, I trimmed the length of the trick worm so that's a lot shorter. And I pretty much matched the color of the jig head to the trick worm. So these two right here are the green jig heads, and they have watermelon candy trick worms. This has a brown jig head, and that's pretty much like a green pumpkin or a brown trick worm. So I think it's just something new that the bass haven't seen yet. So I mean, if you're working this on like a shaky head, the bass is going to see that worm, you know, moving around, but it's also going to see that craw. So, you know, give this a try. I'm definitely going to try it out soon. And I don't know, I think it'll produce some pretty good fish, so we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think, and until next time, catch you guys later.